This is a team which is on top of the world.
Holding up for the blood, the waves everything we knew about the President Siege. Beast Coast, they are your Manchester Major Champions.
Underdogs in their own right, but this is simply the start of our story. For Beast Coast, Manchester was a bit of a last ride. Their coach, Fett, leaves the team on a high, giving up his career in esports to start his masters at university. And after his departure, Beast Coast enter a steep downward slide. Throughout the subsequent NAL stage, they have a middling performance, winning only about half their matches. They've managed to qualify for playoffs, but then disaster strikes. A heartbreaking loss to M80 sends Beast Coast down to the last chance qualifiers, with their final opportunity to make the Montreal Major on thin ice. But then, with it all on the line, they lose to a team of 5 unsigned players playing under an orgless banner, shattering their chances at a comeback story. Beast Coast are broken, not sure where to take things next. They're forced to watch the Montreal Major from the sidelines, and in the background, machinations are afoot. Another roster, M80, are attempting a rebuild, and they think 2 players from Beast Coast are perfect for their new team. M80 buy out Beast Coast in order to poach Gunner and Diffuser, leaving the once great Beast Coast roster a shadow of its former self. Worse still, as part of the acquisition, Beast Coast as an organization ceases to exist, leaving the rest of the players literally jobless without a team. Now, just over half a year later, only half of the Manchester Major champions remain together on the team. They've lost players, they've lost their org, and while they've still got their spot at Invite, the World Championship of Siege, Spirits, Hot and Cold, and Gaveni's position must feel hopeless. They're left with 2 options, give up or get busy. And, well, you don't get as good as these boys without having a little bit of a love for adversity. The team gets to work, running trials to fill the rest of their roster. They pick up Adam, an incredible fragger from the very team which gatekept them from Montreal, and Dream, probably the best unsigned support player in the scene. Finally, they round things out with Mint, the former coach of Dark Zero and also a major winner in his own right. Embracing their status as a band of misfits, the team rebrands to Unwanted, since no org dares give them a chance. So they jet off to Boston with no team to support, but with a chip on their shoulder, their story is just getting started. The Six Invitational has a bit of a different format to other Siege tournaments. The event starts off with a group stage, where 4 groups of 5 teams play a mini round robin to seed the playoff bracket. Of the 5 teams, 1 gets a bye, 2 slot into the upper bracket, 1 gets lower bracket, and last is eliminated. All Unwanted need to do to avoid elimination is make sure they don't finish in last place. But instead, they end up doing so much more. Their first game of the tournament, they find themselves facing off against Liquid, a roster filled with talented veterans. Liquid lost in the semis in Manchester, but they've been looking rejuvenated lately. They played nearly flawlessly domestically prior to Montreal, and they come into Boston with some potential to upset some pretty big teams. But first, they need to get through Unwanted. And despite what so many think, that might actually be easier said than done. See, some teams like to hire players who suck, but Unwanted don't do that, because they've got the French-Canadian legend Spirits, and the dude loves to clutch.
Doesn't really need to challenge this. He can play the clock, force resets to put the diffuser down and then go for the kill.
He's going for it now. Spirits will start his move surely. A C4 over the top might be enough. He's got to go for the planting, but no time left. He's got 2 in back pocket still and 20 seconds on the clock, but it's him versus 2.
Likely going to be a plant in the same position, I would imagine. They've gone into lockers. Maya is putting it down here. Resets, he's on the cover, but like I said, there's multiple angles that you can come from here. Spirit!
I think they ended up beating us on Consulate. And then it went to a map 3 where the guys just played absolutely phenomenal. I think this game, I believe, is the game that kind of gave us the confidence that, like, okay, we're going to be better than we thought we were going to be. We just had to kind of piece it all together.
After taking the game against Liquid, they continue their group stage with some more ups and downs. They take a flawless victory against Bleed, but then drop maps to G2 and M80. Overall, it ends up being a bit of a rocky start, but they secure enough points to finish 3rd in their group, walking their spot in the upper bracket. But they're just getting started. The bracket is generated, and Unwanted are left with a harrowing realization. They're staring down some of the toughest competition of the tournament. Their first match against W7M sees them facing off against the Montreal Major champions, and even should they survive, up next is BDS. Consistently top contenders with star players like Yuzus and Shaiko, BDS are an unbelievable team, having come in second at every event so far this year. But before they can worry about any of that, they need to get through W7M. W7M are full of talented individuals and pop-off players known for just getting multi-kills out of nowhere. And as they load in against Unwanted, they're about to put that talent on full display. They rapidly rack up 3 rounds in a row, leaving Unwanted looking stunned. But then, something flips. With time getting low, they stack 3 players behind 2 shields to create a death ball blue. They use their numbers to simply brute force the round, creating chaos in the defense as they work into sight.
Direction, and eventually one of his teammates does go down, and in perhaps for Unwanted as they march their way into Dirt Tunnel. Spirits at the forefront on the Blackbeard, but a good crossfire from Loban. Meanwhile, Adam on that Twitch is coming from behind and found 2 big picks over from Memorial. It's up to just these last 2 players from W7M. A good fight to win. Loban might have brought this one back into the realm of possibility. Vol's feeling that pressure. No impact grenades to speak of. Try and take down this Blackbeard. Running straight through that crossfire. Spirits has done the damage here with the Blackbeard, but he gets traded back by Volps. It's a 1v2 now. Now he tries to stick it, but he can't. And Hot and Cold, even on low HP, he should be favored here. He shouldn't fall. The guard break isn't going to work. The shot's not landing for Volps. And we'll finish him off.
And just like that, they're awake, heating up with an in-your-face style pace of play where seemingly anytime someone from Unwanted finds a gap, the entire team is there ready to flood into the space. And boy, is it effective.
For a little bit more as Hot and Cold gets that diffuser and starts planting it. Loban trapped into a corner. They know exactly where he is. Loban ready for him, but Dream gets the better. Good start, and look at Dream. He's going deep towards the side. He's going to send it up long. The side Dream has gone down. Spirit, though, holding on to his position. The nade goes in, but I think he's snuck through, and he's found a second one. Doesn't seemingly have information on it. Takes the head off of Loban, and now Dash has to decide. Does he go for a plan? Dream wins the fight! Manchester's Miracle Boys are looking battle-hardened in Boston.
Having taken down the former champions, Unwanted are starting to get noticed. They've woken up, found a style, and look like they're here to play. But their greatest challenge is yet to come, as they face off against BDS. Map 1 starts out terribly, with Unwanted not really managing to get anything going against the French contenders. They manage 1 round on Clubhouse before heading into Consulate with their backs against the wall. But then they remember, wait a second, we've beaten the team, which beat BDS. Aren't we literally the GOATs? And then they start playing like it.
In the post now. After already finding 2 kills, he has to find a little bit more. Where's he going? He's going downstairs. This is a huge risk. It's all up to Hot and Cold. The diffuser denied. He tries to duck and weave. Does he have another one? Gavin can deny it from above. The Unwanted are inching closer and closer. Leakafact trapped into a corner. Finished off again. They know he's got the diffuser, but here comes the backstab. And it's Dream.
Unwanted have well and truly woken up, and they enter map 3 feeling hot, securing a 5-3 advantage on their favored attacking side of border. But despite getting so close, they're locked out of the next 3 rounds, allowing BDS to reach match point. In order to force overtime, they need to win the round, but BDS seemingly have an answer for everything Unwanted attempt. An aggressive early round jump out of Solotov leads to an insane moment as both he and Spirits are knocked down onto the ground. But what should lead to an easy advantage for the attack ends with all things equal as Shaiko runs out east to collect a trade on his teammate. The thing is, without Spirits Blackbeard, things get substantially more difficult for Unwanted. They set up to attempt a window execute, with Hot and Cold on the Ying ready to blind out the defenders. But they run into just one teensy problem. Maybe the best player in the world, Shaiko, is playing in bathroom.
All eyes are on Unwanted as they poise towards the site. Goomine's
It's free. They can
sorted out. Dreams started to figure out, hey guys, there's nothing here.
in the stall though. There is an Asami. Might have misread this actually.
Oh,
my God.
Shaiko! Surely not another one. Adam puts him down. The damage may have been dealt. BDS stand firm. Unwanted begin to plant. Where is the plant denial? They might not need to deny the plant. They might need to retake. Oh, but the cover from Dream. He gets out alive, but it's Adam versus Likafak.
A flurry of trades comes through, leaving Adam and Likafak in a 1v1. Adam has been having a very good day with a collective 28 kills across the 3 maps. But Likafak is a monster in the clutch, and he manages to do this.
With that plan yet to go down, Likafak has been phenomenal all day. He rotates upstairs. And it's a switch of positions as Adam, time ticking away, gets that diffuser and starts to plant it down. Likafak drops and the drone is taken down. He's going to be able to go for this kill. He sprays him. Adam with the world on his shoulders as Likafak just waits, bides his time patiently. So much information for him with no gas to work with. Adam has to hold firm, but Likafak's got him dead to rights. Revenge is best served hot.
Look, it's like these guys won the Super Bowl when they beat us. Like that's how much we were in their head. So to me, after this game, when we did some VOD review, we watched it back. To me, this was a win. Even though we didn't win, like look how much these guys wanted that win. We made BDS work so hard to beat us that we knew we had a chance at this event.
It's a heartbreaking end to map 3, but Unwanted can hold their heads high. They pushed one of the best teams in the world to the brink, proving they can make even giants of the scene bleed. And with playoffs following a double elimination format, they're not out of the game just yet. In fact, they're just getting started.
The lone man here supported by no one, but Shuri finds one. Spirits has denied the plans and found another with the shotgun. It's a 1 versus 1 for Chibisu versus Spirits. The plant begins to go down. It all collapses in a second.
He could very easily use this. He runs up, hot and cold, misses the cross. No! And they have time to do it. This is very winnable for Diaz. It certainly is. Never mind. Issuing a correction. It was not winnable.
Unwanted have stubbornly persisted through the lower bracket, and now find themselves getting ready for the main event. Fans from around the world flood into Boston to get to see these underdogs play, and their story's just too good not to root for.
It was kind of surreal in a sense. I've never had that. I've always had the luxury of being on one of the better organizations, right? Almost my entire career was always in pretty storied franchises. And being able to pull up with black jerseys and seeing some of the fans go to Target and buy black t-shirts and say, we're repping the Unwanted jerseys was just like so cool and so funny at the same time.
Remember, this is a team of 5 friends playing in the biggest tournament in Siege for their share at $3 million. And look at how far they've come. They've held on through sheer tenacity, outlasting big name teams like G2 and M80. At this point, they're everyone's favorite team, and the crowd is making sure they know it.
Good morning, Boston! Siege is back home! One of the 2 remaining NA teams here looking to shock the world. It's Unwanted! The atmosphere is already electric. Boston, are we ready? So to STK, he's already shown us a lot.
Dream falling by the wayside, Gabeni into another. This push here is so crucial. Gabeni into a second, playing behind the shield. This is what Unwanted didn't really do to him. The spread out is good from them, but in that time Unwanted have found one. And 2 and 3. Here comes that potential backstab tip. But Dream! They're done with everything. Gabeni with a 2 has completely eviscerated this backstab coming out from Raza Company Academy.
crowd is roaring their names, and Unwanted are feeding off the energy. Dream especially is having an insane performance. He plays some of the worst roles you can imagine in Siege, but despite this, he is playing lights out. And just like, look at what happens when he gets in the clutch.
Flash streak, circling round to his man, and Tim, who else would it need to be than Dream in a 1v2?
25 seconds left for Dream to hold on. He's going to be flashed out, which tells me they know exactly where he is. This is going to be tough. Does he see his man? No, he can't quite see it. The plant's going down. A beautiful first. Second! How's about that for a Dream?
Quickly becoming Raza Company Academy's nightmare. Tim is up to 6-0 now.
I mean, at this point, you can't help but love the boys. They're everybody's favorite underdogs, and getting them in front of a crowd has just added to the ambiance. Screams and chants take over the stadium as Unwanted take down Raza Company and move on to the lower bracket semifinals. But against them are FaZe Clan. FaZe are a scary roster. Aggressive, talented, and coordinated. They're tournament favorites and likely the toughest opponents Unwanted have faced so far. It's a challenge ahead, but the question remains, will FaZe be too much for them to handle? The game starts, and Handy finds himself an early opener to give his team an advantage. But Dream, our hero, turns around and picks up 2 through the white window, met with the cheers of all his adoring fans.
Smoke bolts are hot and cold. Gavin will strike back, finding Vida King, and they're still looking for more. Dream outside the building finds 2.
But this is where FaZe show us why they're such a terrifying team. Handy and Souls battle back, managing to convert a 2v4. They're so good at isolating fights, coordinating together in order to bring back a man disadvantage. But Unwanted's specialty is pulling off the unexpected, and to answer the lost last round, they come up with the craziest execute I've ever seen.
And this will be a death drop from Unwanted as they will rely entirely on these Sens walls to conceal them. Hot and Cold goes for the drop, and another one will go out as he shrugs off some damage by the freezer vaults. Just narrowly missing out on those tracers and will now tuck himself into the corner where the gas misses. Hot and Cold might be getting away with murder. 10 players still alive in the server, and Unwanted pull off the plant. Now in the post plant, they need to pick off FaZe one by one. Vida King, the first casualty, off to an uncharacteristically slow start. Souls, who was terrific in the previous round, still fragging out. Souls is on the diffuser, but you got Gavin from above, who will now likely drop unless they want him to just stay in this spot, and why not? All the tools, all the tricks of the trade being thrown in his way. Gavin eliminating the smoke. Aerial superiority. The high ground just too much.
Utter insanity. But that's the genius behind Unwanted. They play so well off each other that they can make plays like this happen. But FaZe are just a little too strong, and as the game goes on, they find things slipping away. FaZe win 2 in a row before Unwanted finally pull around back, but the half still ends with FaZe in the advantage of 4-2. Second half isn't much better, as FaZe continue to rack up rounds, with the map ending 7-3. But this is even worse than it seems, because map 2 is FaZe's map pick, Clubhouse. For the uninitiated, FaZe are nasty on Clubhouse. They're one of the best teams in the world on any map. But on Club, they're untouchable. For Unwanted to take it, they'll need to pull off something truly special. Things start promising with Unwanted defending basement. They find themselves the opener before bunkering down in sight and playing it like a team who has fully woken up.
A very standard one. Hot and Cold and Adam both hunted by Grim's gadgetry, as now Souls will drop. Nobody playing AK. So instead, he's got a golden opportunity to hold down this position. Adam with a nitro cell, the second explosive gadget from Unwanted doing its job as 2 players come alive on the side of FaZe. Answered back by 3 on Unwanted.
Unwanted perfectly repel the FaZe assault, starting the game with an advantage, but FaZe answer in turn with a near perfect cross stake. Then, the teams continue to battle back and forth, with the score reaching a deadlock at 2. The thing is, FaZe are just a little too good at Clubhouse, and they pick up another round before moving into the final attack of the half on CCTV. They slowly dismantle the defense, leaving Dream in an unwinnable 1v5. This is the most unfavorable position a player can find themselves in. But does he dare to dream?
FaZe Clan in full control. No flawless round as Dream fires back and finds two. Sidearm will have to come out. And he's shots.
Wait a minute.
Down below, but with no way to stop the plant other than bullets. He'll retake red now. 16 bullets in his magazine. Cross being watched by Vidaking. Dream fighting himself out of this position. FaZe Clan with the right read. And Vidaking just needs to wait. Dream had nowhere to go.
Unfortunately, a 1v5 is just a bit too much to ask. Dream is taken down, and things continue to spiral. The teams trade one apiece, before FaZe wins a lockout downstairs defense in order to force match point. Now, Unwanted need to be flawless to have any hope at taking this game, so they lock in a desperate attempt to try and make something happen. The next round, FaZe are defending Basement, the strongest site on Clubhouse. This could be their best opportunity to send Unwanted home, but look at the lineup Unwanted bring along. They know that if they play normal, FaZe will be able to shut them down without too much trouble. So they have to get weird in order to make something happen. The round starts normally, with Unwanted taking upstairs and finding an opener as they set up for their site hit. But with Sense, Rim, and Blackbeard for their execute, this late round is about to be anything but by the books.
It's going to be important that FaZe step up for a pick early.
It is insane how aggressively Vidaking is holding that part of the map. Dream is back up as now Spirits is the focal point, marching his way down the main corridor. Descends wall, taking lines a sight away. Cyber the only one with a pulse at the moment, as it's him in a 1v4. He manages to stop the defuse with 20 seconds left, and now he will be watched over in Moto. But Dream sends him skidding off the road.
Scary at the end there, but Dream shuts things down, closing the gap to 2. Next, they attack upstairs, dropping numbers in the mid-round, but bringing things back with a nice Rafters clear before looking like they're stalling out facing the clash. But that's when Hot and Cold hits the most insanely clutch backstab of all time.
The only thing working in their favor, Jesse, is Vidaking. The shield can walk up and nullify Gavin's potential. Hotton only has one smoke remaining. No way to spread fire and keep these defenders in an uncomfortable position. Now it's Dream slowed down. Reminder, Hotton has that diffuser looking for an opening. Team Dream is, and it's a two-piece for Dream as we go all 12 rounds.
One round is all that separates Unwanted from overtime. The fans can feel the comeback happening. The energy is palpable. But with everything on the line, a 2v1 clutch out of Vida is enough to shut things down.
FaZe Clan have things working. A triple for Dream, but Vidaking will stop them in their tracks. And FaZe Clan wakes Unwanted from their dream run.
You know, we were almost a band of misfits, right? We were all dropped from our teams, and we all formed a team that luckily had an SI spot, and we were able to kind of do something. We went farther than anyone's ever gone.
So that's it. They lose, but Unwanted have nothing to feel ashamed of. The team rolled up to a multi-million-dollar tournament in t-shirts and jeans, representing nothing but their dreams and their pride. They took down some of the best teams in the scene, making even giants bleed, and go down in history as one of the greatest underdog stories esports has ever seen. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. I put a ton of time and effort into everything I do, and you know, it's just a great way to help the channel continue to grow. Thank you so much for sticking it through to the end, and I'll see you, hopefully very soon, with a new video.